Every year, archaeologists tell us they've found something that changes what we know about human history. Most of the time, they mean it modestly. A new artifact. A refined date. A slightly different interpretation of something we already knew. 2025 and 2026 are different. This year and last year, the discoveries coming out of the ground, and out of the ocean, and out of flooded caves, and out of sealed chambers inside the pyramids, are not modest refinements. They are fundamental challenges to the timeline of human civilization. How organized were ancient societies 12,000 years ago? What were humans capable of 7,000 years before the first Egyptian dynasty? What is still buried under the cities, jungles, and oceans we walk past every day? 10 discoveries, all confirmed, all peer-reviewed, all asking questions that conventional history is struggling to answer. Starting from 10. Number 10. London, 2025. Construction workers breaking ground for a new skyscraper in the heart of the financial district hit stone. Archaeologists were called in. What they found was the foundation of a Roman basilica, dating to approximately AD 78, the civic and legal center of Londinium, Rome's capital of Britain. The structure was enormous. Complex drainage systems, thick masonry walls that would have supported a massive hall, bronze styluses, imported ceramics from Gaul. What's significant isn't just the discovery, it's the scale. The basilica was larger than previously assumed, suggesting that Roman London was a significantly more sophisticated administrative center than historians had modeled. We have been building on top of Roman London for 2,000 years. We are still finding it. Number 9. Ithaca, Greece, 2025. On the island of Ithaca, the legendary home of Odysseus from Homer's epic, archaeologists identified a physical sanctuary dedicated to the hero. Stone terraces, a central altar for animal sacrifice, votive offerings, including bronze statues, and a tile fragment bearing a Greek inscription that explicitly names Odysseus. Odysseus was supposed to be a myth, a literary creation. For centuries, the academic consensus was that Homer's epics were poetic invention, not history. Troy was supposed to be a myth, too. Heinrich Schliemann found it in 1868. A physical cult site with his name on it doesn't prove Odysseus existed, but it proves that ancient Greeks believed he did, enough to build a sanctuary in his name on the island where he was supposed to have lived. The line between mythology and history in the ancient world keeps getting blurrier. Number 8. Belize, 2025. Using LiDAR, airborne laser scanning technology that maps structures hidden under dense jungle, archaeologists from the University of Houston found a previously unknown tomb inside the ancient Maya city of Caracol. The tomb belonged to a Maya ruler, dated to approximately 1,700 years ago. The contents were extraordinary: burial goods, jade artifacts, and remains that are reshaping what we understand about the political structure of the classic Maya period. But the bigger story is the LiDAR itself. When researchers mapped the full extent of Caracol from the air, they found that at its peak, around 700 AD, it was one of the largest cities in the world, with a population rivaling ancient Rome. Hidden under jungle so thick that ground-level survey was impossible for decades. An entire metropolitan civilization, invisible until we built the technology to see it. What else is under those jungles that we haven't mapped yet? Number 7. Scotland, 2025. Archaeologists excavating beneath a school playground during routine construction work found the remains of a massive timber hall. Oak posts, organized layout, clear evidence of communal design. Dating: nearly 6,000 years old, more than a millennium older than the earliest phases of Stonehenge. The largest Neolithic hall ever found in Scotland. Its scale implies a level of social organization, communal gatherings, feasts, ceremonies that historians had not attributed to societies this early in the British Isles. And buried within the same site, Bronze Age weapons deposited centuries later, including a gold-inlaid spearhead. The site was used for ritual purposes across thousands of years by multiple successive civilizations. Whatever happened in that hall 6,000 years ago was significant enough that people were still marking the location 2,000 years later. Number 6. Off the coast of France, 2025. Marine archaeologists diving off the coast of Ile-de-Seine in Brittany found a massive stone wall on the ocean floor. Estimated age: approximately 7,000 years old. 7,000 years ago, this area was dry land. The wall was built by a coastal society that was later swallowed by rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age. The structure is enormous, far larger than anything you would build for simple practical purposes. Researchers believe it was a ceremonial or territorial boundary, a monument built by a sophisticated Stone Age society that we have almost no other record of, because their world is underwater. How many civilizations are on the ocean floor right now? Entire coastal cultures that we cannot find because the sea rose and buried them. The answer is almost certainly more than we know. Number 4. Southeastern Turkey, 2025. Göbekli Tepe is currently the oldest known monumental structure on Earth. Massive carved stone pillars arranged in circles, built approximately 12,000 years ago by people who were supposedly hunter-gatherers with no agriculture, no settled society, no civilization. It shouldn't exist. It broke the timeline when it was discovered. Karahan Tepe is 35 kilometers away, and it may be older. In 2025, excavations at Karahan Tepe revealed a T-shaped pillar bearing a carved human face, the first of its kind found at this site. The complex contains stone structures, carved reliefs, and evidence of organized community life dating back to the very beginning of the Neolithic period, approximately 12,000 years ago, possibly earlier. The Turkish government's project encompasses 12 Neolithic sites in the same region, all dating to 9,500 BC or earlier. 12 sites, all within a relatively small geographic area, all from a period when humans were supposedly not yet capable of organized monumental construction. Göbekli Tepe already broke the model. Karahan Tepe suggests Göbekli Tepe wasn't an anomaly. It was part of a much larger, much older civilization that we are only beginning to excavate. Every season the timeline gets pushed back further. Number 3. Egypt, 2025. Archaeologists from Penn Museum excavating at the mountain of Anubis near Abydos found a royal tomb buried under 20 feet of sand. Massive limestone walls, vaulted mud brick ceiling, hieroglyphic inscriptions identifying the occupant as a pharaoh. The king who was buried there ruled Egypt 3,600 years ago. His name is gone, destroyed either by tomb robbers or by the deliberate act of historical erasure that the victors of Egypt's second intermediate period carried out against the dynasties they defeated. His entire ruling family, the Abydos dynasty, was systematically removed from Egyptian historical records. One name survived, Senebkai. The rest were erased. An entire dynasty of pharaohs who ruled for over a century, written out of history so completely that for 3,000 years they effectively didn't exist. They are emerging from the sand now anyway. The lead archaeologist believes there are more tombs. The excavation continues through 2025 and beyond. A civilization that was deliberately buried twice, once in death, once in history, is being found for the second time. Number 2. Giza, Egypt. Happening right now. In late 2024, scanning technology identified a previously unknown 30-meter corridor inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu, a passage running through the interior in a direction that had never been mapped. Robots were sent in to explore. At the end of the corridor, a sealed chamber. It has not been opened. No human has entered it since the pyramid was built approximately 4,500 years ago. In early 2025, Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's most prominent Egyptologist, announced that in 2026, Egypt would reveal a discovery inside the Great Pyramid that would, in his words, rewrite history. He believes the sealed chamber may be Khufu's actual burial room. Because here is what most people don't know. The chamber traditionally identified as Khufu's burial site, the King's Chamber, contains only an empty granite sarcophagus. No lid, no inscriptions, no mummy. Khufu's body has never been found. The most famous pharaoh in history, the man who built the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. His burial, if it exists undisturbed somewhere inside that pyramid, would be the most significant archaeological discovery since Tutankhamun in 1922. Bigger, arguably, because Tutankhamun was a minor pharaoh. The announcement is coming in 2026. The chamber has not been opened. We are waiting. Number 1 isn't a single discovery. It's what all of these discoveries are saying together. The submerged wall in Brittany, 7,000 years old, built by a society sophisticated enough to construct monumental stone structures before Egypt existed. Their world is underwater. Karahan Tepe and Göbekli Tepe, 12,000 years old, organized monumental construction by people who conventional archaeology said were not yet capable of it. The Yucatan skeletons, 8,000 to 13,000 years old, in a deliberate ritual burial context deep inside a flooded cave. Organized religious or spiritual practice from a period when we have almost no other record of the people who lived in the Americas. The Maya city of Karakol, one of the largest cities in the world at its peak, invisible under jungle until 2025. The Abydos pharaohs, An entire dynasty deliberately erased from history. The sealed chamber in the Great Pyramid, unopened for 4,500 years. The pattern is not that we keep finding new things. The pattern is that every major discovery of the last decade points in the same direction. Human civilization is older, more organized, more geographically widespread, and more sophisticated than the conventional timeline has allowed for. We are not filling in the gaps. We are finding out how large the gaps actually are. The history books taught in schools right now are not wrong. They are incomplete. And the incompleteness is not random. It tracks with a very specific problem. Most of the ancient world's coastal civilizations are underwater. Most of its jungle civilizations are under canopy. Most of its desert civilizations are under sand. We are finding them now, because the technology to find them now exists. What we are finding is consistently older, larger, and more sophisticated than we expected. That should change everything about how we think about where we came from. 10 discoveries. A Roman city under London. A sanctuary for a man who was supposed to be mythical. A Maya metropolis, the size of ancient Rome hidden under jungle. A ritual burial site 26 feet underwater in a Mexican cave. A sealed royal tomb in Egypt belonging to a pharaoh whose name was deliberately destroyed. And a chamber inside the Great Pyramid that has been sealed for 4,500 years and is about to be opened. Every one of these is confirmed. Every one is peer-reviewed. Every one is happening right now. The version of history we were taught was always provisional, a best guess, based on what we could find at the time. We can find more now. And what we're finding keeps pushing the same boundaries in the same direction. Drop a comment. Which one of these hit hardest? The pyramid chamber, the underwater wall, or something else on the list? Next week on Things That Shouldn't Exist, the Antikythera mechanism. A 2,000-year-old Greek device so mechanically sophisticated that the manufacturing techniques required to build it weren't reinvented until the 14th century. A computer built before computers existed. Subscribe. I'll see you there.